Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me today. Today we're doing iggeres Epistle 25, letter 25. This letter comments on a discourse in Svat HaRivash, section 120 in the Kahad editions, in which the Baal Shem Tov explains that though all things emanate from God through his attributes of love and awe, these attributes can find themselves in a state of exile. The Baal Shem Tov goes on to say that in the same way, a worshipper who finds that his endeavors constantly are being disturbed by someone speaking should consider, why did God bring me here, where this talk is disturbing my prayers? After all, everything is providential. Indeed it is, explains the Baal Shem Tov. This month's talk and spoke of the radiance of the Shekhinah that is descended and now abides in his mouth, in order that the worshipper should exert himself so strenuously so that he will be able to ignore the disturbance. The verse used in the above quoted version of the teaching is abides, Rosa. As the Alter Rebbe will soon explain, the proper term is vested, Nishlachsha. Especially so the text there goes on to say, if the person speaking is a heathen or child, then the realization that the Shekhinah has, as it were, contracted itself to such a degree should surely bring the worshipper to an ever-increasing fervor. It would seem that the opponents of the Hasidim seized upon this statement of the Baal Shem Tov, that they could not understand how one could possibly say that the Shekhinah abided or even was vested within a heathen. The Alter Rebbe explains this in the present letter, beginning with the teaching of the sages that whoever is in a rage resembles an idolater. A Jew, he explains, must know that everything comes from God. When someone strikes him or angers him with words, he reminds himself that at that very moment a glimmer of the divine presence, which provides life to all creatures and to this individual as well, has rested itself within that person. The Alter Rebbe goes on to prove this from King David's response to when Shimei ben Gera cursed him. King David said, "For God told me curse." Although we do not find it explicitly stated that God told Shimei to curse David, since God's Spirit animated Shimei at the moment that he cursed David, thus providing him with the strength to do so, David considered this as if God told him to curse. Indeed, as the Alter Rebbe goes on to explain, a glimmer or irradiation of the Shekhinah vests itself even in the Klipot. Throughout this discussion, the Alter Rebbe does not actually quote the Baal Shem Tov teaching nor the above objection to it. The reason for the latter omission may perhaps be understood in the light of the fact that the Alter Rebbe was prepared for Mesiras Nefesh, literally risking his life, not to be sundered from any teaching or from even the slightest gesture of the Baal Shem Tov, even if it would only appear to be in the eyes of the beholder. It is thus reasonable to assume that here as well the Alter Rebbe chose not to even mention an objection raised against the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. He merely clarifies the concepts involved and the object falls away as a matter of course.